Today's true crime is a case that really haunts me. It's a case that has stuck with me through all of the true crimes, and I'm going to share it with you today. Today we are going to be looking at the Butcher of Plainfield, also known as Edward Gein. So let's take a look at the background. Edward was born on the 27th of August 1906. He was raised on a remote farm in Plainfield. Edward had a rough childhood. His father couldn't hold down a job due to his alcoholism, and his mother was verbally abusive and a religious fanatic. So religious, in fact, that she taught her sons that girls were corrupted and a lot of people that they knew were going to go to hell. So I can see how that would affect a child. In school, Ed didn't really have any friends. He was quite isolated and quite shy, and any friendships he did form, his mother ended up cancelling those friendships. She ended up stopping them. So she kind of isolated her own son in terms of making different relationships. He was also apparently bullied in school for his lazy eye and his trouble with his speech. His father ended up dying when both Ed and his brother were in their 30s. Most of the money they ended up making was on the farm. However, they did go into town to do odd jobs such as decorating and babysitting. His brother would mention how he believed that Ed was too attached to his mother and thought it was extremely strange. However, Ed overheard this and didn't like the way he was talking about his mother. Soon after, a fire broke out on the farm and Ed's brother went missing. He was eventually found with his face down in the mud and he was dead. The police believed that there was no foul play involved and believed this was due to the fire. However, he was hit around the back of his head, which suggests that maybe something else happened, but I think they believe that he maybe fell or suffocated from the fire. Later on, Ed's mother, Augusta, ended up having a stroke. This left her paralysed and left Ed to sort of take care of her and look after her. Eventually, she ended up having another stroke and she died. So what actually happened? After Augusta died, Ed was beside himself. He didn't really know what to do with himself, as his mother was basically one of the only ever relationships that he had. His house became extremely messy, apart from his mother's bedroom, where he kept it completely tidy as a shrine to her. He ended up doing a lot of reading on books about the war and even some books that involved sections on cannibalism. This eventually led him to start digging up bodies in the cemetery. He ended up getting sexual gratification from these bodies and then started to make them into his own weird creations. He ended digging up multiple bodies over the years, and a few people started to go missing around the Plainfield area. So how was he caught? The police were called to a local store run by Bernice Warden. There was a blood trail and Bernice was nowhere to be found. Her son had claimed that Ed had been in there the night before, trying to buy something, but other than that, he didn't know where his mother was. So the police decided to go down to Ed's farm, and what they found was something out of a horror show. The deputy was the first to arrive on scene, and he found the trail of the blood leading to a barn. He ended up going into the barn and he found a woman hanging there. Her innards had been cut out and he found her head in a bag a few feet away. When they entered the house, they found a heart of a woman in the kitchen, almost getting ready to be prepared for a meal. And I think the worst part about this was that Ed ended up giving these meals to people within the town. So people in the town might have ended up eating other people from the town. Police obviously confirmed that he was a cannibal and a necrophiliac. But this was not the worst part of what they found in the house. They found stacks of human bones. They found multiple heads with their faces taken off. They found a wastebasket made out of skin. They found an armchair made out of skin, and they found a lampshade made out of human skin. And they ended up finding a human bodysuit made out of different people's skin and body parts. Obviously they took him in for questioning and he was quite reluctant to talk to them at first, but the police ended up showing him pictures of the victims, and eventually Gein broke down and told them everything. He ended up confessing that he ended up killing people only when the ground was too cold, so he couldn't dig up his own bodies. The police could only prove that he committed 2 murders, which is very strange because when they're called a serial killer, it normally means that they've killed more people. However, the fact there were so many people that went missing and there were items of clothing from these missing people, but they couldn't quite identify them, meant that they decided to say that he was a serial killer, because he probably was. Ed ended up being found not guilty due to the fact that he was insane. It was said that he didn't really understand that he had done anything wrong. He ended up being taken to a hospital for the criminal insane. Nurses in the hospital said that Gein was quite a nice person. He enjoyed sewing, and the one thing that sort of scared them about him was apparently he used to stare at them quite a lot and made them uncomfortable. And Gein ended up dying in the hospital. So why would anyone commit this sort of crime? So it was obvious that losing his mother had a massive effect on him. It's believed that he had the Oedipal complex, which means he had a sexual condition that he wanted his mother and wanted to be with his mother. And this is sort of corroborated by the fact that he created a whole body suit to almost become his mother and be within his mother in this strange way. Also the fact he kept his mother's room as a shrine to her, and he also confessed that having loads of different female body parts around made him feel closer to his mother. I believe that his mother was his only real relationship that he ever had. She basically cut him off from everyone else, and as soon as he lost his mother, he just lost his relationship, the only relationship he had. And I think he was striving to just get that relationship back. He just really wanted his mum back so he could have that relationship. And that's the reason why I believe he ended up digging up these bodies and killing these women to get closer to his mother. After she died, he was left isolated and alone, and he ended up reading books that might have influenced his way of thinking. I feel like he had a weird, distorted way of viewing relationships. I don't think he believed that what he was doing was wrong. To me, it just seems like somebody that didn't really want to kill. He just wanted to be with his mum. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a like, subscribe, why not, it's free. You can always unsubscribe later, and hopefully I will see you all in the next one. Bye!